Okay, good day class. So let's continue our discussion. So nandito na tayo sa section 111 or 111. So this talks about the transitional or presumptive input tax credits. So the first one is the transitional input tax credit. So the tax code states that a person who becomes liable to value-added tax or any person who elects to be a VAT registered person shall be subject to the filing of an inventory according to rules and regulations prescribed by the Secretary of Finance. Upon recommendation of the Commissioner, be allowed input tax on its beginning inventory of goods, materials, and supplies equivalent to 2% of the value of such inventory or the actual value-added tax paid on such goods, materials, and supplies whichever is higher, which shall be creditable against the output tax. Okay, so kapag first time tayong maging value-added taxpayer or VAT registered person, so for example, ka-exceed lang natin ng 3 million threshold or ka-register lang natin as a VAT registered person, we have a right to have this transitional input tax credit. So ano ba yung mga transitional input tax credit? So pwede tayong kumuha ng credit from our beginning inventory, okay, materials and supplies. Okay, pwede tayo kumuha ng input tax credit sa mga to. So aside from our creditable input tax, right? Aside from our traditional creditable input tax, pwede din tayong kumuha nito kapag kare-register lang natin or kasi start pa lang natin na maging VAT registered person. So paano ba natin kunin yung transitional input tax? Okay? So yung transitional input tax, we get the actual value, okay, or yung mismong binayad natin sa mga beginning inventory, materials and supplies. Okay, materials and supplies. Then we multiply it by 2%. Okay? Yun yung transitional input tax or i-compare natin ito sa actual value added tax na binayad natin sa mga inventory, materials and supplies na yon. Kung sino man yung mas malaki sa kanila, that will be the amount na pwede natin i-credit sa ating output tax kapag magbabayad na tayo. Right? So for example, let's say that our beginning inventory materials and supplies is, let's say, 50,000 pesos. Right? Tapos nagbayad tayo ng value added tax on those supplies, material supplies and inventory ng, let's say, 1,000 pesos lang. Right? So, first of all, kunin natin yung 2% ng ating beginning inventory, materials, and supplies. So, 50,000 times 2%, that is equal to 1,000 lang din pala. Right? So, in this case, 1,000 yung 2% ng ating beginning inventory, materials, and supplies, and 1,000 lang din yung value-added tax na binayad natin. So, in this case, dahil parehas sila, 1,000 yung pwede natin i-credit, additional credit sa ating output tax kapag magbabayad na tayo. So, another example is 50,000 ulit yung beginning inventory natin. Pero in this example, instead na 1,000 yung value-added tax na binayad natin sa mga yon, ang binayad nating value-added tax is, let's say, 3,000. Right? So, again, compare natin yung 2% ng beginning inventory, materials and supplies sa value-added tax na 3,000. So, 50,000 times 2%, that is equal to 1,000 pesos. So, 1,000 pesos, i-compare mo sa 3,000. Of course, the actual value-added tax na binayad natin ng 3,000 is higher compared sa 1,000. So, that will be the amount na pwede nating i-claim as transitional input tax credit sa kapag magbabayad na tayo on our output tax. Okay, so take note na itong transitional input tax, this is only available kapag ka-start lang natin. Okay? Kapag ka-start lang natin na mag register as value-added taxpayers. Okay, so next we have your presumptive input tax credit. So sabi dito sa tax code natin, persons or firms engaged in the processing of sardines, mackerel, and milk, and in manufacturing refined sugar, cooking oil, and packed noodle-based instant meals such shall be allowed a presumptive input tax creditable against the output tax equivalent to 4% of the gross value in money of their purchases of primary agricultural products which are used as inputs to their production. Okay, so as used in the subsection, the term processing shall mean pasteurization, canning, and activities which through physical or chemical process alter the exterior texture or form or inner substance of a product in such manner as to prepare it for special use to which it could not have been put in its original form or condition. Okay, so kapag here we have your presumptive input tax. So kapag ang business ng isang taxpayer is yung processing ng sardines, mackerel and milk, and in manufacturing refined sugar, manufacturing ng mga sugar natin, mga cooking oil, ng mga pack noodle based instant meals, pwede sila mag-avail ng presumptive input tax. So ano tong presumptive input tax? This is the 4% of the gross value. Okay, 4% naman to. Compared sa kanina 2% lang siya, ngayon 4% na yung presumptive input tax. 4% of the gross value in money of their purchases, okay, take note on the purchases of primary agricultural products which are used as inputs to the production. So kung meron silang mga purchases na ginagamit or ng mga primary agricultural products. So for example, kapag syempre kapag kapag sugar ang business nila, syempre yung mga unrefined sugar, right? Yun yung binibili nila. Kung cooking oil naman, right? For example, let's say vegetable oil, syempre yung mga ingredients para gumawa ng mga cooking oil na yon. So kapag bumibili sila ng mga purchases nila, 4% of those purchases can be used as a presumptive input tax. Okay? So pwede nilang gamitin ito, presumptive input tax, as a deduction from their output value added tax. So again, this is pwede nilang i-claim ito separate from their input tax credit or creditable input tax. So pwede sila mag-claim ng dalawang input tax credit sa yung presumptive input tax and creditable input tax. The same goes yung mga pwedeng mag-apply ng transitional input tax. Pwede silang mag-claim ng creditable input tax and transitional input tax credits. Okay? So let's go to section 112 or 112. So refunds or tax credits of input tax. Okay? So zero rated or effectively zero rated sales. So sabi dito ulit sa tax code natin, let's just read. Any VAT registered person whose sales are zero rated or effectively zero rated may within 2 years after the close of the taxable quarter when the sales were made apply for the issuance of a tax credit certificate or refund of creditable input tax due or paid attributable to such sales except transitional input tax to the extent that such input tax has not been applied against output tax. Provided, however, that in the case of zero-rated sales under Section 106 and Section 108, the acceptable foreign currency exchange proceeds thereof had been duly accounted for in accordance with the rules of the and regulations of the BSP. Provided further that where the taxpayer is engaged in zero-rated or effectively zero-rated sales and also in taxable or exempt sales of goods or properties or services, and the amount of creditable input tax due or paid cannot be entirely attributable to any one of these transactions, it shall be allocated proportionately on the basis of the volume of sales. Okay, provided finally that for a person making sales that are zero-rated under Section 108, the input tax shall be allocated ratably between zero-rated and non-zero-rated sales. Okay, so kapag tayo ay nag-engage ng mga services or ng mga sales na zero-rated, right? Or effective zero rated. Okay. So, again, kapag zero rated sales tayo, ang output tax natin is 0% or zero. Pero, pwede tayong mag-claim ng mga input taxes. Okay? So, kapag tayo ay nagbebenta ng mga zero-rated sales, within 2 years from our from the close of the taxable quarter, okay? So, 2 years after ng quarter natin, when the sales are made, pwede tayong mag-claim ng tax credit certificate. Okay, so itong tax credit certificate na to, pwede natin itong gamitin para matanggalan yung mga income tax natin or other taxes aside from business tax, right? Or refund of creditable input tax. So, kapag refund naman, syempre, makukuha natin yung pera na binayad natin for the input tax. Attributable to such sales except transitional input tax. So, any other input tax can be refunded or credited except transitional input tax. Ito lang yung hindi pwedeng ma-refund and ma-credit. So, yung natin, presumptive input tax and creditable input tax natin can be refunded but not the transitional input tax. To the extent that such input tax has not been applied against output tax. So, syempre, yung mga pwede lang natin ma-refund is yung hindi pa natin na-apply sa output tax, yung hindi pa natin na-deduct sa mga output taxes. Okay, so sabi dito, we will be skipping this, hindi importante ito. Provided further that kapag yung isang taxpayer na nagbebenta ng mga zero rated sales is merong ibang services or merong ibang sales na exempt, right? Or taxable or exempt. So hindi sila, kung merong ibang sales sila na hindi zero rated, yung input tax na pwede na lang i-refund or i-credit should be ratioed or proportioned, right? So for example, okay, yung yung proportion natin is based on the volume sales. So for example, meron tayong isang taxpayer. Okay, so itong taxpayer na to, nagbebenta siya, let's say, basta nagbebenta na lang siya. So out of the total sales, ang total na naibenta niya based on the volume of sales, let's say 100,000 na inventory. So out of that 100,000 na inventory na naibenta niya, 60,000 comes from zero rated sales. Okay? While 40,000 comes from exempt sales. Okay, so 0% and exempt sales siya. 60,000 sa 0%, zero rated, and 40,000 naman yung exempt sales. Ang total input tax na allocate na earn niya during the quarter is, let's say, 20,000 pesos. So itong 20,000 pesos na ito, kailangan natin siyang i-proportionate based on the amount of volume of sales. So 60,000 divided by 100,000, that is 60%. So 60% ang mapupunta sa zero rated sales niya, while 40% naman ang mapupunta sa exempt sales naman niya. So that 20,000 times 60%, that is equal to 12,000. So 12,000 lang yung pwede niyang i-refund or i-apply para sa tax credit certificate, right? Kasi yun lang yung applicable para sa zero rated sales based on the volume of sales. Okay. While yung 40,000 hindi niya pwedeng i-refund or i-convert sa tax credit certificate kasi nga yun ay applicable naman sa exempt sales. And yung exempt sales, hindi siya pwedeng mag-refund ng input tax credits. Okay? So let's go to letter B, cancellation of VAT registration. A person whose registration has been cancelled due to retirement from or cessation of business or due to changes in cessation of status under Section 106 of this code may within 2 years from the date of cancellation apply for the issuance of a tax credit certificate for any unused input tax which may be used in his payment of his other internal revenue transaction. Okay, so kung tayo is dating registered as VAT VAT registered person, tapos na-cancel yung VAT registration natin dahil sa retirement or cancellation of business or due to the changes in status, right? So dahil hindi natin pala na-meet yung threshold na 3 million. So, na-cancel yung VAT registration natin or kinancel natin yung VAT registration natin. So, in that case, pwede tayong mag-apply ulit. Within 2 years, pwede ulit tayo mag-apply ng tax credit certificate. Okay? Tax credit certificate for any unused input tax. Okay, so yung mga input tax na hindi pa natin na i-credit sa mga output tax, pwede natin iyon i-convert as a tax credit certificate para gamitin natin sa other taxes. Income tax man yan, donors tax, right? So, any other taxes, local tax. So, all of those can be used, right? So, within 2 years yan. Within 2 years. Katulad lang din sa first part. Okay? Okay, let's go to letter C. Period within which refund or tax credit of input taxes shall be made. So, in proper cases, okay, the commissioner shall grant a refund for creditable input taxes within 90 days, okay, from the date of submission of the official receipts or invoices and other documents in support of the application filed in accordance with subsection A and B hereof, provided that should the commissioner find that the grant of refund is not proper, the commissioner must state in writing the legal and factual basis for the denial. In case of full or partial denial of the claim for tax refund, the taxpayer affected may, within 30 days from the receipt of the decision denying the claim, appeal the decision with the Court of Tax Appeals. However, that failure on the part of any official agent or employee of the VAR to act on the application within 90 days period shall be punishable under Section 269 of this code. So, kapag gusto na nating mag-file for refund, tapos na-submit na natin lahat ng mga official receipts natin, mga invoices, and mga other documents na required para sa refund, dapat, in proper cases, okay, take note, proper cases, within 90 days dapat, kailangan ng i-grant ng commissioner yung refund natin. Okay, within 90 days dapat makuha na natin yung refund. Okay? So, if the commissioner found that the grant of refund is not proper or merong mistakes or merong mga basis para i-deny yung mga refund natin, the commissioner must state in writing, kailangan niyang isulat yung mga legal and factual basis ng denial. So, kailangan malaman natin kung bakit na-deny yung refund natin. So, kapag na-deny yung ating refund, we as the taxpayer, within 30 days, okay, 30 days from the receipt of the decision, pwede tayong mag-appeal. Okay, pwede tayong pumunta sa Court of Tax Appeals para mag-appeal ng decision. Okay, tapos para sila na yung mag-decide kung talaga bang proper na ma-deny tayo ng refund. Okay. Okay, so the failure on the part of any official agent or employee of the BIR to act on the application within 90 days shall be punishable. Okay, so kailangan hindi pwede na yung failure is on the part of the employee. Okay, so hindi reason na hindi pa na-process ng employee ng BIR within 90 days yung refund natin. So, letter D. Okay, so last topic for today. Manner of giving refund. Refunds shall be made upon warrants drawn by the commissioner or by his duly authorized representative without the necessity of being countersigned by the chairman, commission on audit, the provisions of the Administrative Code of the 1987, to the contrary notwithstanding, provided that refunds under this paragraph shall be subject to post-audit by the Commission on Audit. Okay, so, hindi na kailangan ng this is for the, for the commissioner na to. So, sinabi lang dito na hindi na kailangan na pirmahan pa ng chairman and the Commission on Audit para makuha natin yung refund. Right? But pwede na yung authorized representative ng commissioner para makuha na natin yung refund. Okay, so yung refund na to is ma-audit din ng commission on audit later at a later date. Okay, so that will be all for today. So we will be continuing again next meeting yung discussion natin. So again, itong value added tax na lang ang pag-eendan ng discussions natin for our final exam. Pero we will be including topics from our midterm exam. Okay? So that will be all, class. Thank you for listening. Okay, goodbye.